Hi, everyone. Thank you again for attending CloudWorld and tuning into this on-demand session. My name is Om Kapoor, and I'm part of the industry solution marketing team here at Oracle. So today we're going to be talking about how media and entertainment companies are approaching the need to reinvent themselves, in this consumer-centric age, and use digital transformation to achieve that. Let's dive right in. So, just as a quick sort of background here, the pandemic, as we know, has kind of fundamentally transformed a lot of kinds of industries, but none more so than in the media entertainment space. So whether if you're talking studios, OTT providers, publishers, broadcasters, music, radio, sports, whatever, there are huge, powerful forces that have reshaped this entire space, where traditional multi-year transformations have now been accelerated to a matter of 2 to 3 years with disruptions across the entire value chain. So we've highlighted three different trends that we're seeing in the space. So direct to consumer, convergence, and battle for content. So if we dive right in, we'll see that with the shift to streaming and other OTT services from linear and broadcasting, consumer expectations are evolving faster than we've seen before. Right? It's no longer just about providing consumers with content. They want M&E companies to meet them right where they are with the content they want to see and exactly when they want to see it. And this has had a massive impact to direct to consumer, which has really been kind of the driving force for a lot of M&E enterprises across the globe. So personalization is really key to delivering a lot of these targeted services and meet consumers' specific needs on an ongoing basis. With this consumer centricity has really had a huge disruption across the entire media ecosystem. And you see this instigation of cross-industry convergence activity, especially reshaping the media landscape. Media companies are using M&A in a sort of a buy versus build approach to increase their operational capabilities, and seizing that as an opportunity to kind of keep pace with consumers' appetite. And IP has kind of been at the center of all of this, right? And that's been kind of the core reason for a lot of these M&A decisions. And so there's a lot of different examples of this sort of activity. So if you look at single sector consolidation, you've got deals such as Microsoft acquiring Activision, the Warner Media Discovery merger, and also traditional media companies also merging as well. So you have Disney buying 21st Century Fox, Comcast acquiring Sky, and then Viacom reuniting again with CBS's Paramount. So all these newly combined media entities now have reached across the entire globe and across different consumer sectors, which really enable them to be the best position to capture, retain, and monetize on this high volume of consumer engagement. And no conversation about media entertainment would be you couldn't have a conversation without talking about content, right? Many companies depend on digital assets to drive revenue, and the age-old saying about content being king is still very, very true to today. So billions are still being poured into your content production, and with the current pace of consumer demand, it's difficult for your production houses and studios to really keep up with that. So you're seeing shorter production timelines and constraints being put on productions, which really require better project-based planning to manage these shoots and resources. And on top of that, with the pandemic, it's hard for a lot of your creative teams to work together in one place, and so creative teams have had to learn to collaborate in really advanced ways using new modes of working like remote and hybrid workflows to help make sure that productions are keeping on with the same necessary pace. So with all things said and done, right, you build out the content that it's been developed. There's another substantial choice for media companies to look at. Do you distribute it yourself, and if so, what platforms are you distributing that on? What sort of licensing arrangements are you getting into, or do you sell it to someone else? And there's a lot of things to consider regarding your distribution strategies here, especially when a lot of users have subscriptions across multiple different platforms, with the average being around four. So with all these different things to consider, M&E executives are really looking to transform their business. They're looking to direct to consumer distribution strategies and your content investment as ways to reinvent their business and capture the attention of consumers. So here's just a couple data points that we've seen around the industry to add some context to the three trends that we just talked about. I won't cover all these metrics in detail, just in the interest of time, but I just wanted to call out some key points here. So When you look at content spend, right, we're looking at $230 billion being spent on content alone within the last year, and then another 700 billion being spent on M&A since 2014. So it's really clear that content is still king and it's not going anywhere. And M&A companies are looking to diversify and find new ways to create value. With that being said, many M&E companies are either still running homegrown solutions like on premise, or they're using a lot of back office legacy systems that induce an unnecessary business unnecessary complexity to the business process and really leads to wasted time. So as we see above, right, there's a need to reduce costs and increase cash flow, but you know, it's really difficult to do that when you have limited access to critical data due to having these different siloed systems. It really hampers your finance and operations team when they're trying to conduct information analysis that can be helped to keep up with these market changes and compete at light speed with what's been going on in the industry. And so it makes absolute sense that you have a majority of your M&E company, 60%, that are already looking at or are already conducting back office transformations. And so simply put, you're seeing that media companies are looking at back office transformations as a way to achieve business resiliency. So when we look at back office transformation, the Oracle Cloud solution has one of the most comprehensive back office cloud solutions in the market to date. There's no other tech provider that has the scope across your finance, your ops, including supply chain and HR functionalities to really have that all in one common data model. So let's just do a quick little dive here into the Oracle offering. So starting off with the heart of the media entertainment solution for companies is Media Ledger. So with this battle for content kind of going on, the key for media companies is to make sure that they're capturing the market not only in the sense of quality content, but being able to make sure that that content is brought to customers in a quick, efficient, and cost-effective manner. So M&E CFOs are no longer just relegated to your typical finance functions, and they're really instrumental in this process of growing and expanding the business. And so they need to be able to have the ability to leverage their financial information in a way that allows them to have these forward-looking insights across their portfolio of IP to extract the most value from their content portfolio and make sure that it matches the customer demands. And really, this all starts with Media Hub, which is really the data management and governance model for Oracle Cloud, and it provides a configurable classification, attribution, workflow around creating and maintaining media masters. So as I mentioned, Media Hub is defining and governing these digital assets using a digital asset ID, and it records attributes from any asset within the hierarchy. And so this can be movies, TV shows, episodes, books, music, merchandise, whatever. And it really uses a lot of source systems to kind of enrich a lot of this data. So it's taking in information from your rights management solution, your advertising and subscription systems as well. So as this sort of integrated accounting platform, Media Ledger is integrating with your subledger and operational systems, as you see here on the left, to provide a central and globally accessible source of detailed business information. And it really establishes a foundation for all centralized accounting and FP&A functions. And so, through Fusion Accounting Hub, Media Ledger can really receive all of this transactional information from all these different streams, take it in, ingest that with a robust accounting engine, and really apply rules to create a detailed accounting entry, regardless of any, virtually for any sort of accounting requirement. So once that, you have sources of funds coming in, core financials can kind of enable you to manage your subledgers in GL. And, for example, it can help you manage, what you need to pay out with your, AP systems, for example. Within the planning and consolidation phase, you're able to really see closing and consolidation more so as a non-event, and be able to use that extra time for forecasting and actually looking at your modeling, your all your ultimates modeling and whatnot across your content titles. A lot of the pre-built planning components associated with performance management. At the core of this, the crown jewel of this entire thing is the Media Ledger. So the key here with Media Ledger is it empowers data-driven and analytical insights into profitability at a digital or asset ID level, and allow for that P&L so that CFOs can really run real-time analysis with multiple parameters. So, for example, they can ask questions like which directors are consistently showing profits, which titles are using the most expensive film locations, which genres have the highest returns and on what platforms. A lot of these types of questions, and the key here is it's all done without having to wait to collate data from different silos, and you have all of that available to you all within that time frame. So this whole rich supporting information can provide deeper insight, and it's not only limited by your traditional reporting processes, which is really the key power of Media Ledger and Media Hub. Earlier on we talked about how the pandemic has led to a need to aggressively look at pursuing operational agility and flexibility, but it's also highlighted some of the vulnerabilities within traditional planning, budgeting, and forecasting processes. And it's also looked at surfacing many new challenges that media companies have to face. Early forecasting models, inputs, and data have now become irrelevant, in some cases just unusable. With disruption kind of being the new norm, plans have to be changed, refined, and adjusted continuously. And it's less, about creating the perfect plan as much as we'd like, but more so about refinement and reforecasting. So media companies are having, difficulty, unfortunately, adjusting to this current environment because, for the most part, they do run multiple scenarios and plan for contingencies, but for the most part, all of that is either done in spreadsheets or in siloed, data systems that really lack that integrated, connected planning. So for any real-time decision-making, leadership teams have to look at necessitating a move from just financial planning to a more tightly integrated enterprise-wide business model. So, as we mentioned, adopting a connected enterprise planning solution here allows for the Office of Finance to guide and support M&E companies in new business models and initiatives, faster with greater accuracy. And so Oracle Cloud EPM offers a comprehensive approach to connected planning for media companies, and really gives them the ability to see the impact of changes to operational drivers and data to their overall forecast across finance and other operational areas. And as you can see here on the diagram, connected planning encompasses a wide variety of processes. It's from long range planning to bottoms up budgets, forecasts, line of business planning to profitability and costing. We're really able to support all of these processes in an enterprise-wide approach, all documented in one place, which really enables your M&E companies to make these critical decisions faster and more accurately. Just looking at connected planning from a different perspective here, you can see how pre-built configurable frameworks can really be leveraged to connect different planning processes across the enterprise. So you're able to leverage these best practices out of the box for your workforce, your capex, your projects, and financial planning to really get you up and running in no time. Even within the discussion of OTT, Ultimate still play a crucial role in enabling your studios to project their long-term expenses. But with projects planning, you have studios build these perfect Ultimates projections, coordinating with all their stakeholders, really be able to utilize this library of pre-built planning models based on their amortization windows to help with a more proactive and agile approach throughout the entire planning process. The focus so far has kind of been around looking at seeing record to report and looking at connected planning, but the procurement and supply chain teams have really had a difficult time as well within media. And so the procurement teams right now face challenges with tackling inefficient spend management, rogue spend, and difficulties in contract negotiation. So looking at the whole source to settle process, Oracle Cloud's procurement offering really looks at being a complete end-to-end solution for source to settle within the cloud, and it really has enabled a lot of M&E companies to help reduce costs, improve productivity, and really manage supplier risk by streamlining the entire procurement process. And this really enables M&E companies to decrease costs with year over year cost savings with fewer resources, outperform your macroeconomic factors such as inflation and currency fluctuation, but Also, with looking at improving your purchase execution and reducing your buyer time and effort, and expediting some of these transactions. So the other key being the use of automation and AI to help with exploiting those points like dynamic discounting, for example, to really help with improving that execution there. And another point with looking at savings, right? And being able to not only leverage supplier knowledge to improve prices and quality performance, but being able to look at enforcing negotiating terms across buying activities, another key aspect for procurement teams. From a project standpoint as well, sourcing and procurement capabilities can be used not only to decrease your waste when it comes to improving planning, but also when it looks at indirect sourcing, like for example set build outs and lighting across productions and projects. It's equally important to see how that connects back to your media hub and media ledger, with digital asset IDs being a part of all these different transactions, and how that leads back to P&L across the entire IP hierarchy. So being able to have your sourcing and procurement systems tie in and report out while carrying these attributes across the IP structure really benefits within the close process, since there is little to no delay needed, as all these systems are all in one common data model, not on disparate systems. So you have this tie-in back to your projects in terms of from that standpoint. One of my favorite mantras here about procurement is doing more with less, right? That's the name of the game when it comes to procurement. So when you look at centralized sourcing and decentralized execution, as you see at the top right, it really enables your media companies to be more strategic and less transactional with their sourcing and procurement strategies. Every shoot is going to have its own production accounting system, just the name of the game, unfortunately. And so with that, a shared services model for sourcing and procurement will really allow for those teams to be able to influence what these production teams buy, manage contract negotiations, and importantly have greater access and accessibility to that data from the production accounting systems, while not having to wait on data feeds and whatnot. So with a more strategic approach to procurement, it really helps kind of expand the scope of influence for the sourcing and procurement teams by enforcing spend and procurement practices throughout the business, and help with spend controls and contract compliance as well. While also looking into your supplier management, it helps with looking at supplier risk and being able to control for that and protect margins, while ultimately helping reduce costs. You know, we've looked around at how consumers are looking for great experiences and want quality content, and we talked about the different back office capabilities to help support that. But behind all of that, employees are really the backbone for getting all of this done. So employees really need to make have the right tools and support to be productive, and making sure that all of this continues as business as usual. So media companies unfortunately are not immune to the great resignation. And so while they're also dealing with fierce competition, they now have to deal with how do you grapple with retaining your workforce and make sure that they're well supported. They need a effective way to manage their workforce and personalize their employee experiences, using specific knowledge you know, about them, when it be roles, preferences, interests, and whatnot, and really help them when it comes to learning and career development opportunities as well. The main guiding principle across Oracle HCM Cloud is about making work more human, right? So part of this is looking at how we enable HR from a comprehensive standpoint, with all these HR functions being connected in one cohesive solution, from human resources to talent management, workforce management and payroll, with employee experience really being the primary priority across all of this. And secondly, it's about helping you with the solutions that help cultivate this workforce. So this is about really getting in the shoes of each of these different employees, and helping them with guided experiences, AI recommendations, and access to learning and career opportunities. Another point, with what we've seen with the pandemic and these constant changes, there's new modes of working, and teams really need to be able to have the flexibility to kind of collaborate in in remote workflows, and be able to have access to these critical pipelines across the enterprise. So HR really sits at the center of innovation, with having a highly configurable solution and allowing you to kind of create and design and extend these experiences specifically tailored to the needs for not only the business and any changes that come on that front, but also the people that really help power all of this. So kind of taking a step back from what we've talked about, right? There's a ton of disruption and uncertainty going on within the media and entertainment space. You have new business requirements that have come in, new opportunities that have emerged, and of course the conversation around talent and how that's going to be a competitive differentiator for winners within the marketplace. But what is the real question here is, how do companies make sure that they're equipped to meet these challenges and thrive and accelerate growth in this space? So if I had to extract the theme of this presentation, it really comes down to Oracle has built this industry leading and comprehensive end-to-end platform with a common data model as that thread to help businesses to deliver automation, speed, and insight. So Oracle has kind of given with this platform the ability to look at your financial information and performance and profitability, and see what are the current and future needs for your business. Looking at the insights into content library and how to monetize that IP to deliver value to customers and then advertisers. But also, with all that said, it's about being able to accelerate your organizational agility, and responding to market conditions across the business, regardless of where it stands today, and being able to bring that up to speed where necessary. So Oracle, as you can see here, is partnered with several media companies. Think of your AMC's, your Vimeo, Hearst, Scholastic, and it's really helped to kind of solve their business problems and then help improve their business. So everything we've learned and built has kind of been to help establish Oracle as a leader within the media and entertainment space. So by moving to the cloud with Oracle, you really have the confidence that it's just unmatched experience with others, since we've had over 7,700 successful transitions from on-premise to cloud, and we really work together with our customers to make sure that we're constantly improving our solutions, which includes over 1,700 new features and performance improvements every year, which has also benefited us, as we use the same solution that we sell. So on a closing note, I encourage you to explore our solutions, see how we've delivered value to our media entertainment customers, and engage with others if you're already a customer on our Oracle Cloud Customer Connect platform, and really see and explore different best practices, and openly share your experience with our community. Just want to say thank you again for attending and listening to this presentation on digital transformation for media entertainment in this consumer-centric age. Excuse me. And again, my name is Om Kapoor, and I'm part of the industry solution marketing team. So if you'd like to connect, please feel free to send me an email or shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Would be happy to connect there. So thank you again for your time.